I'm Brian, and I run Brian's Bike Reviews, and today we're looking at the Shimano 5800 105 group set. It's Shimano's new 11-speed 105 group set, and it has a lot of trickle-over technology from Ultegra and Derailleurs. I'm going to go over that a little bit as we dive into this box. The group set is purchased for this frame right here. It's a Diamondback Podium, it's a leftover team bike, and it's part of our build a 15-pound bike for under $1,000 project. So if you'd like to see that, stay tuned, subscribe to us. But if not, let's check out the Shimano 105 11-speed group set. So as you can see, brand new box just came in from Merlin Cycles. The entire Grupo costs roughly $400, give or take. And so yeah, this is it. So I'm going to pull each one of these boxes out, set it on the table, and I'm going to kind of just point out to you what they are. This is going to be the crank. And then over here, we're going to have two brake calipers, and we're going to go over these. These are actually an important piece that I'd like to talk about. We got a front or rear brake calipers, and then in addition, we're going to have a rear derailleur. And along with the rear derailleur, we are going to have a front derailleur. This also has an update that's worth talking about. And of course, the cassette. This is going to be a 1225 cassette. And we're going to have our control levers, arguably the most important piece of any system when it comes to bikes. We also have a standard bottom bracket. This is just going to be, I think, a 68 millimeter Euro bottom bracket, and of course the last piece that I guess links it all together, no pun intended, is the chain. So there it is. This is what comes in the box whenever you order a Grupo. So the first thing I'd like to talk about is we're actually going to talk about the brakes. This is something that I've been reading a lot about, and I'm not going to say that I know a lot about them, but I can tell you that this is one of the rare moments in which Shimano designs a group set that has a heavier component than the previous generation. Turns out that the old 105 brakes are actually slightly lighter than, in terms of weight, for all the weight weenies out there, than these calipers right here. Difference of about 40 grams. These ones come in at close to 400 grams for the pair, so pretty hefty by all standards. I'm going to try to get you guys a little close up of this one. And so this is the 105 brake caliper. Overall, looking at the build quality and the construction, I would say definitely a couple steps down from what you might find in the Derailleurs Grupo. You know, you can kind of see that there isn't too many machined parts. It looks like it all kind of comes from a mold, but then again, it's just a pair of brakes, so it's not going to be a critical component in, for example, your drivetrain or something like that. However, you know, it does bring it to a stop, so they need to function. Brake pads look kind of pretty turnkey, and again, the weight can be attributed to a couple different things. A little chunky, definitely through this middle section right here. So kind of a letdown on the brakes. I will say that. Overall, I think if you're going to buy a group set or a 105 group set, maybe your most important factor when it's coming to brakes is that you know, buy the group set, but maybe ditch the brakes. Maybe go for some SRAM brakes or something like that. Remember, SRAM brakes are compatible with Shimano levers. There's a lot of questions about that. However, shifting wise, you cannot use any sort of SRAM rear derailleur with Shimano shifters. Just remember that. So there's the brakes. Moving on. Okay, so next up, we're going to be looking at the rear derailleur. So what purpose of the rear derailleur, obviously, is going to be to shift things around. You're going to be switching through your gears. This is going to be a very, very important component to the drivetrain. Looking at it, what can I tell you? It feels a little heavy. Out of the box, you know, coming off of, I've got SRAM Red on one of my bikes, and then I've also had Ultegra in the past. And on a bike before that, I had Derailleurs. Looking at it, it looks okay. I would say maybe the build quality of Ultegra is a little bit better, but I'm not displeased with it by any means. The derailleur design doesn't really stray from Shimano's kind of classic derailleur design, and this is definitely trickled down from Ultegra. In fact, it looks very similar when you're looking at it. Kind of has the same flow as the 6700 group, and I'm assuming these pulleys are going to be a little skinnier than the old group to accommodate for that 11-speed chain. So there you go. That's there's the rear derailleur right there. I'm gonna just take the boxes, put them out of the way. Get the brake right here. It's looking good. The front and the rear brake, they're very, very similar, so I don't see the point of opening both. But you know, if you really want to see it, email me. I'll be happy to send you a video, just the front brake, if that's a deal breaker for you. Okay, moving on. Coffee break. Moving on, we're on to the front derailleur. This is something I'm excited about. So recently, if you guys have been paying attention, there's a new gear ratio on the market, and that gear ratio is a 50-38. So the idea behind it is that, you know, you still have some low gear, you have some low gearing for climbing, but at the same time, you know, you still have those gears that are going to give you the speed. You know, so you have a 52 in the front, which is the typical standard is going to be a 53-39, and the compact group pose will be 50-34 gear ratios. So the idea behind the 52-38, I believe it might be a 52-36. I believe it's a 52-38. The goal there is to make sure that you have a wide range of gears. And this derailleur has helped make that huge jump possible. So jumping from a 52 to a 38 is quite the gap. And before it wasn't possible, but now they figured out that to really, you know, move that chain up those ridges, you're going to need a really, really long pull, or in essence, a lever. And so if you notice right here on the lever, it's long. It's longer than any other group set I'm familiar with, and that is part of the new gear ratio. However, this set is not of the new gear ratio. That is just the derailleur that comes with the 105 Group O when you buy it as a whole. All right, took a quick break there, and we're back. So we're gonna open up the dual control levers, which is just your shifter levers for all the people that could care less about branding and names, and it doesn't matter. Okay, they are STI, if anyone wanted to know. You know, they're gonna have the little clicks. That's what STI means. So here they are, and as I've seen in other photos of them, they remarkably have carbon fiber levers. This is a 105 Group O. You would imagine that they wouldn't want to spend the buck. But to Shimano's credit, carbon fiber levers in 105. I mean, this is better than the stuff that Lance was racing on in 2002. Granted, I guess he was racing on a lot of things in 2002. So here we go. Moving on. You got your right and your lefts. They're surprisingly, they look good. They feel good. Look eerily similar to kind of my Ultegra levers. I don't know if I'm going to say that they're the exact same, but from face value, they are dang close. I'm sure that Shimano has an answer as to why these ones are slightly heavier than the 6700 Ultegra levers, but I mean, as far as I can tell, they look the same. So that's a great thing. That's awesome. Best news ever, because it means that you can get a great set of levers for really cheap. So along with the Group O, you're going to see that you're going to get all your cables that you need to build the bike out, which is awesome. I shouldn't have taken them out because now I cannot get them back in, but it's okay. We're just gonna leave them right here. So yeah, there it is. You're gonna have all your other kind of nice little handouts that Shimano's gonna give you just to say thanks for spending so much money. But actually we didn't spend that much money. We got it for under 400 bucks, so that's a win. All right, moving on to the next one. Everyone wants to see, I think, this next piece. And this is the part that I was most interested in, actually. This is 11-speed crankset, and here it is. There's pluses and minuses. Obviously, you're going to get all your information on it to this crankset, and curious to see it in real life. So one of the major points that I keep seeing in kind of the reviews and when I was reading about whether or not this was the right Grupo for our sub 15 pound build set for $1,000, this bike behind us right here, was trying to determine whether or not this crank was going to become an issue. And weight-wise, it's not a total porker, but it's not exactly light. And one of the things I was worried about, and looking at it, yeah, it's pretty true, is that I think a lot of dirt can accumulate in this larger ring, which is a huge letdown, but you know, if you live in a muddy place, you're going to be doing a lot of cleaning. However, I live in the desert, so I think this is going to do just fine for me. So this is the 105 crankset, and this is an 11-speed crankset, matches the rest of the group. Interesting design. It looks, as far as I can tell, it looks very similar to the current Ultegra crank. I also have heard that parts of it are forged, and I think it's this large ring is going to be forged instead of machined, which honestly, it's fine. Unless you're pro and you're racing on this stuff every day, just grab yourself one of these cranks and stop thinking about it and start riding it. Okay, here you go. Here's the other lever. Not lever, the other crank arm. And it's got a nice look to it. It looks fast. That's certainly true. I'm a fan of black group sets, and this is going to look pretty nice on this bike behind us, I think. It's gonna look nice and blacked out. Solid move. Really pleased with the turnout from Shimano. I like it. Let's see, 105, the CS 5800 crankset. Now this is a 28. Actually, just to point out, this crank is a compact. So this is going to be a 5034. That's why you're not seeing that very large jump that you normally would in that new gear ratio. Again, this is why the new derailleur, the front derailleur, has a long lever on it. Now this is so this is a compact group set. I just bought it because got a lot of hills around here, and at the same time, I'm not sure we're gonna keep our build that this is gonna go on. So I know a lot of the people out there are really into compacts. So here you go. Here's the 11-speed kind of cassette. It is riveted in the back. Now, it's not made out of one piece, which is interesting. It looks like you're going to have separate gears all the way up until right around gear 8. Only this last part is going to be riveted together, unlike kind of the SRAM cones or some of the Dura Ace cassettes that more than half the cassette is going to be riveted together. So this is neat. Means that you can probably clean them a little bit better. It also means that you know, sometimes they don't get jammed on there as bad if it's a kind of a one-piece system. Now granted, always grease your cassettes before you're putting them onto your wheels. Quick tip. All right, last but not least, for this bike, this bottom bracket needs an adapter, but here it is. This is a Shimano bottom bracket, standard. Nothing's too special about it. It's just going to be the norm. Got a lot of packaging for this little guy. All the instructions how to install things. chances are you'll find a better, faster tutorial on how to do this on YouTube. So I love instructions, but now we live in the golden age of technology, so I'm sure you guys are going to find a lot of stuff. Things I can talk to you about. The cups are aluminum. Nice touch. Not steel cups, not crap cups. Honestly, all around decent cups. This is going to be a standard external bottom bracket. Overall, pleased, impressed. Meets my expectation and then some. They'll probably work just fine. Of course, you can get bearing upgrades. They come pre-looped, so it's not like some of the old days where you're gonna have to lube up a new cassette when you get it. And the chain, we're not gonna take the chain out. Just a standard chain, nothing special. It's got the Dynasys 11, which is I'm sure that everything has it. Again, branding doesn't really matter. So this is what the Groupset looks like. I'm going to take some photos for you guys so you know exactly what to expect whenever you get yours in the mail. And that's the whole point, is try it before you buy it. Watch these things so you know what's kind of coming in the mail whenever you buy an 11-speed Grupo from Shimano. And this is, again, the Shimano 105 5800 Groupset. The new 11-speed that just came out. And this is the compact crank. We've got our bottom brackets, the brakes, which again is probably the biggest letdown in the Grupo, but you got to have something, right? And yeah, so that's about it. So again, I'm Brian, and this is Brian's Bike Reviews. And if you don't mind just subscribing to the channel so that you guys can see all the new stuff that we're working on and trying to make the world a better place one bike at a time. So let us know, and if you have questions, please send them over. Yeah, but just subscribe, and it makes it fun for me, it makes it fun for you, makes it fun for everybody, and hopefully you guys will learn something. That's why I watch YouTube. So learn away and subscribe.